It's the end of days for the deep state. Marco Rubio says the Trump admin will be canceling 83% of programs at USAID and intends to remove the remaining ones to the State Department. At the same time, the deep state is striking back with what limited resources they have, as that slush fund, it were called. Lee Zeldin found $375 billion being funneled to climate change groups. They are now suing, trying to get $20 billion of government grant money unfrozen. You have to wonder what it is they're doing with that money for political reasons. Let me keep it simple for everybody. If you're a climate change nonprofit, you are de facto Democrat. And if the government was granting this money to climate change nonprofits, de facto money funneled to Democrat causes. Let me tell you a little bit of those methods. It's not so much about, the government grants, let's just say $10, small number, to a climate change nonprofit. The climate change nonprofit then says, if we donate this money to a Democrat, we'll win. Not that simple. There are many things they can do. For instance, they can fund protests. The government gives, let's just say the government gives $1 million, this is hypothetical, to a climate change nonprofit. They then hire a couple of organizers at $60,000 a year. Yep, that's good money for an organizer, who then goes to colleges, rallies protests, and then marches through the streets. These people will say, we're not going to be political. We receive government grants. But they will allow at these rallies in which, hey, we're just organizing a protest. Then Democrat steps in, speaks in front of the rally. It's all one big dirty game, my friends. One big dirty game. All of these companies, these nonprofits, they work together. But right now, it is done. Now, we know USAID was basically shuttered. The remaining programs are going to go to State Department. USAID is over. CNN reports the Trump admin is canceling 83% of USAID programs. And that ain't humanitarian aid, my friends. That was a lie. The move to have the remaining 1,000 USAID programs administered by the State Department would cap the quick and drastic dismantlement of the U.S. Independent Humanitarian Organization. You see how these scumbags phrase USAID? Independent Humanitarian Organization. That was funded by the government and funding politically left progressive ideas. I saw this clip from Family Guy. I don't know if it's real, but it made a good point. It was Peter Griffin, and he was like, you got to trust Hollywood. They always make great films where a guy with right-wing views eventually figures out he was wrong and adopts left-wing views, right? And they're like, yes, of course. Then they name several movies. And he goes, can anyone name a movie where a man with left-wing views adopted any kind of right-wing views? Huh? Anyone? And that was it. And then I guess some creepy guy pops up and he's like, Metropolis. But it's a really great point. Hollywood functions that way. And it became what we call default liberal. We're going to change the game. No more default liberal. Believe what is true. Maybe that's right wing, maybe that's left wing, who knows? Quote, after a 6-week review, we are officially canceling 83%. We get it. The 5,200 contracts that are now canceled spent tens of billions of dollars in ways that did not serve, and in some cases even harmed, the core national interests of the U.S. He claimed without providing details on the canceled contracts. Are you kidding me? They're like, Marco Rubio, please provide a list of all of the contracts and everything they did. Well, you can go to Doge for that. They're available on X or their website. Well, now the deep state strikes back, my friends. Climate change nonprofit sues EPA over billions in frozen funds. And if they got allies in the courts, they're going to try and get this money, these billions of dollars, so they can use to wage war against the popular administration. New York Times reports a multi-billion-dollar dispute between the EPA and several nonprofit organizations escalated on Saturday when one group sued the EPA and Citibank, seeking access to grant money that has been frozen under Trump. Climate United, a nonprofit, claimed the EPA and Citibank have illegally withheld nearly $7 billion award. Wow. Last April, Citibank has housed the funds as part of a green financing program to finance projects that address climate change. If federal law enforcement orders it frozen, thank you and have a nice day. Okay. Now, there is a question about whether or not the government should have the right to freeze funds in this way. The only thing that's different here from the private sector, certainly if you came to me and said, I don't like the idea of the executive branch just shutting down someone's bank account. No, I agree on that. We're talking about it's the government money. Okay. Now, it's basically our money, in which case I'd prefer it they didn't spend it. In fact, I'd prefer it if they refunded it. But if the argument is the government is transferring this money due to a grant and has decided not to pay it out, cry more. They don't have to. I don't, you have a legal dispute, okay? Contract versus fulfillment, go to court over it. If I hire a contractor and he doesn't do the work and then demands money and I say, I ain't paying you, we go to court over it. And I'll go to the judge, you didn't do any work. If he does the work and he screws it up and breaks something and I say, bro, your workers damaged this, you got to pay for it. And he says, no, we go to court over it. So now they're going to go to court over it, and I think that's absolutely fine. The funds are part of a larger pot, $20 billion, that have been swept up in a controversy after Lee Zeldin, the EPA admin, called the green financing program a scheme that was purposely designed to obligate all of the money in a rush job with reduced oversight. Now some of the nonprofits say their bank accounts are frozen and that they are struggling to pay staff. Oh, man, but I love it. Climate United had planned to loan the money to developers across the country in support of solar power, electric trucks, energy-efficient, affordable housing projects, and said the freeze has meant small businesses and developers are unable to draw down funds they were promised. We're not trying to make a political statement here, said Beth Bafford, chief executive of Climate United. This is about math for homeowners, truck drivers. You see the game they're playing with this one? An EPA spokesperson said the agency does not comment on any pending litigation. Oh, boy. We have received and are currently reviewing the suit, Citibank said in a statement. As we've said previously, Citi has been working with the federal government in its efforts to address government officials' concerns regarding the federal grant program. Our role as financial agent does not involve any discretion over which organizations receive grant funds. Citi will, of course, comply with any judicial decision. Climate United is one of 8 nonprofits that collectively received $20 billion from the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, also known as Green Bank funding, during the Biden admin. The money was appropriated through 2022's Inflation Reduction Act and had been held in recipients' accounts as Citibank since late last year. The nonprofits had been unable to make withdrawals for more than 2 weeks. The funds were frozen after Mr. Zeldin issued a statement linking the grants to a hidden camera video release in the final weeks of the Biden admin by Project Veritas, a conservative group known for using covert recordings to embarrass. You mean journalism? Cry more. In the video, Brent Efron, then an EPA employee, likens the agency's efforts to spend federal money on climate change to throwing gold bars off the Titanic. A lawyer for Mr. Efron said the client was not referring to the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. Zeldin has called for Citibank to return the funds to the EPA and suggested potential fraud. The DOJ and the FBI subsequently launched investigations. Denise Chung, a top federal prosecutor in D.C., resigned after determining there was not enough evidence to order the funds frozen. Earlier this week, Mr. Zeldin referred the program to his agency's acting inspector general for investigation, suggesting a link between the fund recipients and Biden administration allies. Some of the nonprofit organizations have received letters from the DOJ and the acting inspector general seeking more information. In a letter to the EPA sent Tuesday, lawyers for Climate United detailed the organization's efforts to meet with the agency to discuss the program. I'm going to pause there, my friends. Administrative civil war. What we're looking at is prosecutors resigning at SDNY in D.C. because they're in on the take. I'm not saying all of them or every single one. I'm saying there are going to be prosecutors who are Democrat aligned, who want that money to go to their allies because they're waging civil war administratively. And so when Trump says, this is a scam and you know it, they go, I quit. I'm out. Let's see who's on the wrong side of history. If Trump can't maintain a strong economy and allows Democrats to take control in 2026 and then 2028, Trump will have been a blip. He will have been the wrong side of history. But if the Trump admin can shut down the bureaucratic state and restore the power to the people, then this will have all been the right side of history the entire time. And that's why I say to you, my friends, we can't just sit back and read the news, okay? If you're sitting back and you're reading, that's all you're doing, it's better than nothing. I'll give you credit. I mean that sincerely. But that's why I say do more. You've got Public Square, the app you can download. Shop with companies that love America. Empower them financially. You've got rumble.com/TimcastIRL with premium content. Sign up for premium. When this comes to a battle in the next election cycle, and it will, and they start nuking channels on YouTube once again and Facebook, and TikTok already does, talk about one of the stupidest things Trump could have done. TikTok is banning conservatives left and right. Seriously is. We are going to need a place to go. Rumble is that place. premier video podcasting destination, only growing, only getting better. If you're launching a new podcast, I've been saying this for years. Rumble's the place to do it. Absolutely, you get way more views for a new creator. Join the Discord server at timcast.com. You've got to get involved because this is the battle, and this ain't ending here. You think they're going to walk away from $20 billion? $20 billion? Ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen. They need that money to fund activist groups or whatever it is they're going to do. These various nonprofits, the money will find its way. Even if, take a look at this. You say to some guy, hey, we need a chief executive to run a nonprofit. We'll pay you $300,000. Then they take $100,000 of that and they donate it. You see, the money in that sphere of influence doesn't matter where it starts, and it matters where it ends up. The battle is on, my friends. Now, in Trump's first month, he's moving at lightning speed. Good. But we need everyone to be active because the left is getting active. They're on the ground. They're crazy. These people are nuts, setting fire to Tesla stations. All I'm asking you to do is hang out with friends and talk about the news. I'm going to wrap it up there. Stay tuned for Timcast IRL tonight. Follow me on X and Instagram. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all tonight.